Darla real estate agent with Real Broker. I was asked to speak today at my real estate office to a large group of fellow real estate agents. And if those of you who don't know my story, prior to jumping full force into real estate 6.5 years ago, I was in education for 20 years. Now, I only taught for 4 years, but I was in administration for the last 16. But all along the way, I taught children, I taught teachers, I taught fellow administrators, I've taught on the local level, the national level, I've taught. I love teaching. And so today, they asked me to speak to a group of realtors about, basically they said you pick the topic, right? And so I asked one of my fellow real estate agents, what do you think the topic should be? What could I focus on? I love real estate. I could talk about it forever and a day. So narrowing it down to one training is not very easy. So he said, call it Dominating Your Circle. What does that mean? 6.5 years ago, I retired from the school board, not knowing a single thing about real estate. But what I knew was I was at a point in my career where I was no longer proud to work where I was working. And so I had one of two choices: continue to be miserable every single day, going to a dead-end job that I saw no move up in any way, shape, or form, and I was at a standstill in salary. So I retired and I jumped full force into real estate. And so my topic today, I'm going to touch on 3 points when I talk to these real estate agents today. And so I figured I would share some of it with you. The 3 major points are, number 1, no matter what you are thinking about doing, if you're thinking about switching careers, know what your strengths are and monopolize on those things. So for me, jumping full force into real estate, for those of you who don't know, I live in a very small community called Iota, Louisiana. Iota means very, very minute, very small. And the last time I checked, population was around 1,200. So I knew that back then, about 6.5 years ago, very few people used real estate agents to sell and buy property. Most of them just, it was easy, word of mouth. They put a for sale sign in the front yard. They did what they needed to do and went along about their business. And so I really believed I would have to drive to Lafayette and Lake Charles to get most of my business. What I quickly realized was that my community fully embraced me and trusted me, and I have been so fortunate to be very busy in my community. But my strengths are teaching people, guiding people, and giving back to the community, especially the schools, who are so vastly important to our community. I believe that if you want to be successful anywhere that you live, in any field that you're in, it is important to give back to those people who are crucial to our communities. And for me, those people are educators. The educators in our communities have the hardest jobs to do. They're the most underpaid, the most underappreciated. And so I really, really, truly believe in giving back to our community. So whatever you're deciding to do, if you're thinking about switching careers, if you don't love where you are, think about what strengths do you have. For me, getting into real estate, I knew that I loved working with people. I knew that I loved learning new things, and I loved the story behind why people have to buy and sell. And I loved all of that about real estate. I also love knowing that every day is different, that there's always a problem to solve, And I love the fact that there's always a new person to help, a new opportunity. I get very bored very easily, and I knew that about myself. So number one, if you're thinking about switching careers, if you're not happy with where you are, know that you need to just think about what are your strengths and how can you monopolize on those. I knew when I got out of education that I knew not a dang thing about real estate, but I knew that I could be successful at whatever I decided to put my mind to, because I'm not afraid of hard work. And if I jumped full force into real estate and I didn't love it, then I would have switched to something else. That's what I knew about myself. Number two, if you're thinking about switching careers, if you're thinking about doing something different with your life, be prepared when you switch over to whatever it is that you're going to change to do. You are going to suck at it at first. You cannot wait until everything is perfect, everything is just so, to decide to do it. If I had waited for the perfect opportunity to get into real estate, it would have never come. It would have never came. And listen, the year after I jumped into real estate, a year and a half later, COVID hit. The world shut down. I know so many real estate agents who stopped showing homes. They stopped listing homes because they were deathly afraid to catch COVID. I closed 82 transactions that year because I just did not. I wasn't afraid. Listen, I double masked. I didn't shake hands. I didn't hug people. I was very careful. But even though it was COVID and it felt like the world had shut down, people still had to buy and sell homes. It was inevitable. It had to be done. So I could have sat back in my house and collected a COVID check or an unemployment check or whatever you may call it, right? But I did not, and I chose to move forward. And so you can wait until things are perfect, and you will probably never get started. So just know that if something is not working in your life or in your career, and you're waiting for the perfect opportunity to switch, that opportunity is probably never going to come. Be okay with not being the best at first. Practice makes perfect. Practice, do the thing, do the thing, do the thing, and confidence will come from doing the actions, right? So number one, know your strengths. Number two, be willing to suck at it at first, right? And number three, this is so important to me, and I didn't start doing this till just a few years ago. At the very beginning, I did not. Always, always, always have something on your calendar that you look forward to. Have something on your calendar to look forward to. Listen, there's so much to be said for the amount of money that can be made. But if you do not take the time to enjoy the money that you're making, or you do not make the time for those little things that light you up, then what is it all about? The older I get, listen, I just turned 50 in January, which means my life is about half over, right? I'm hoping that I live a good 50 more years, but it's half over. And when I look back on it, I want to look back on it with zero regrets. Zero. And so every single day when I wake up, I think to myself, what is something today that is going to excite me, that's going to light me up? And when I'm looking at my calendar, what are some things to look forward to? You hear about those people who work and work and work and work and work, and they believe that once they retire, they're going to then travel and enjoy their lives and do all the things. And how many of those people, when they finally retire, get sick or die or too old to enjoy those things? And I hear it over and over and over. I plan to not regret anything. And listen, this year, I could have had so many excuses of why business could be bad or why the market, you know, the interest rates, people griped about the interest rates. People are always looking for reasons to gripe. This year, I went through a divorce and I broke my neck. Those two things. Listen, I haven't slowed down one little bit. There's always going to be a reason to not do something. There's always going to be an excuse. And if you're looking for excuses, there will always be one, right? So get out there and figure out a way to do what you need to do to love your life. So, listen, in real estate, there are no stupid questions. I say this all the time. Ask your questions. Listen, when I got into real estate 6.5 years ago, I knew nothing. And I asked questions, I asked questions, I asked questions. I was relentless on finding out the answers to things. But what you will quickly realize is that everybody has their own opinion. It is very, very, very subjective. Find someone who will answer all your questions, who will lead you in the right way. Follow your gut instinct and your intuition when you're dealing with people. Y'all have a great day. Have a great week. And if there's anything that I can do for you in real estate, reach out. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I absolutely live and breathe real estate. It is my passion. I could talk to you about it all day. Y'all have a great day. Take care.